morning. I hope your day is starting off well. This is section 4.2, part 1. And to start, we have a little bit of vocab. So you can go ahead and hit pause to write these down if you'd like. And then I'll go ahead and walk us through what they are. Okay, so to start, we have term. And a term is a constant, a variable, or the product of a constant and one or more variables raised to powers or exponents. So, for example, some terms could be 4x, -7 is a term, y is a term, -5y squared is a term, 5xy squared is a term. Constant terms don't have any variables, so your constants are just your numbers, like 8 and 2. Variable term has variables. So, for example, 5x, -3 times x times y squared, or y. The coefficient is the constant. So remember, the constant was the number, right? The constant factor of a term. So whatever the number is out front associated with that term. So, for example, the coefficient of 3x is 3. The coefficient of -4y squared is -4. And the coefficient of -x, the coefficient would be a -1. Because remember, there's a little hidden 1 right there between that negative and the x. Like terms are either constant terms or variable terms with exact variables raised to exact powers, and they can be combined. But unlike terms, can't be combined. Okay, so to start, we're going to try to simplify. So let's go ahead and work through these together. So if I have 4 x's and I want to add another 7 x's, how many x's total do I have? I have 11 x's. Right? That's it. If I have 8x and I want to take away 5x, what do I have? 8 minus 5, I would have 3x. 6a plus another a, how many would I have? I'd have 7a. And again, if you need to, you can slip in that little 1 if it helps you out. So 6a plus 1a would be 7a. All right, this one has a little bit more going on. Look at that. We have lots of things, right? So I like to start mine in alphabetical order. And your book has kind of a long way to do it, which is fine if you prefer to do it that way and want to look that up. That's up to you. To me, it's a lot of writing, and whenever I try to write out a long way, I usually end up messing up a sign or some numbers. So I find that the less writing that I do, the less chance for mistakes for me. But if it makes more sense to you, go ahead and go for it. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to look for all of the x's that I can find, and I'm going to circle whatever positive or negative is attached to it, so whatever's right before it. So I'm going to start with the x's. So I see a 2x. Do you see any other x's? I see this 6x, and I'm going to bring the sign with it, okay? So it's a -6x. And I don't see any other x's. So if I have 2x minus 6x, I have -4x. And I like to use different shapes and different colors. It's up to you, however you want to keep track of these. Next, I'm going to look for all my y's. So I'm going to go with a box around all my y's in a green. So I have plus 5y. Do you see any other y's? How about this plus 3y? So if I have 5 y's and 3 y's, now I have plus 8y. And I'll just do an underline under the constant here. So a plus 2 here and a plus 7 here. I end up with plus 9. All right, so for this next one, I want you to go ahead and try both of these, okay? So I have a -2 times the quantity x plus 5y minus a 3 times the quantity 2x minus 4y. So go ahead and distribute that -2 and the -3 and then combine like terms. And then for the next one, I have 4 times the quantity x minus 2 minus the quantity x plus 3. So go ahead and hit pause, come back when you're ready. Okay, so first, let's go ahead and distribute that entire -2, right? So we have a -2 times x is a -2x. A A negative 2 times a positive 5y is a negative 10y. Grab that entire negative 3 and distribute it to the 2x. So now I have a minus 6x. And negative 3 times negative 4y is a positive 12y. Now we're going to look for all of our x's. So I see a minus 2x and I see a minus 6x. So that's going to be a minus 8x. And then I'm going to look for my y's. So I have a minus 10y and a positive 12y. So I have, if I combine those terms, I have a positive 2y. For the next one, I'm going to grab this 4 and distribute it to the x. So I have 4x. 4 times negative 2, I have a negative 8. Here you can just distribute the negative, or you can think of it as negative 1 if that helps you out. So I have a negative x or negative 1x. I'll slip it in there just because a lot of people tend to like it. Negative 1 times a 3, I have a negative 3. Then I'm going to look for all my x's. So I have a 4x minus a 1x is 3x. I have a negative 8 minus a 3 is negative 11. Next, for example 2, we have simplify. And then after we do that, we're going to evaluate the expression and our result for x equals 4. So just do the simplify part right now, and then we'll come back together before we evaluate. Okay, so hit pause, just do the simplify. Okay, so when we simplify, I'm seeing some x's here. So a negative 2x with a positive 7x. I have 5x. I have a positive 5 with a negative 3. So if I combine those terms, I have a plus 2. So now we have to evaluate the original for x equals 4 and our result. So I'm going to put in what we got for our result over here, 5x plus 2. Now we're going to plug in 4 here to the original and to the result. Do you think they're going to be the same? Yes, they should definitely be the same, right? Because we just simplified. So we just condensed it. They should definitely be the same. If they aren't, it means that we made a mistake somewhere and we'll want to go back and check our work. Okay, so let's go ahead and plug in 4 everywhere we see an x. So I'm going to start here on the left. So negative 2. So x equals 4. Oops, almost wrote the x again. And we'll plug in the 4 here for the x. And now let's go ahead and just use order of operations to simplify. So the negative 2 times 4 would be a negative 8. And then we just bring down the plus 5 minus 3. Again, multiplication, 7 and 4, we would get 28. And now we just simplify left to right here. So we have a negative 8 plus 5 would be a negative 3. Bring down that minus 3 plus 28. Negative 3 minus 3, we would have a negative 6 plus 28. And then finally, negative 6 plus 28 is 22. And now let's go ahead and plug in 4 for our result. So we would have 5 times 4 plus 2. This one's way easier, right? Way shorter. We would have 5 times 4 is 20 plus 2 equals 22. Did we get the same thing? We did. Okay, so we got 22 and 22, so that means that we did it correctly. So if we ended up for our result, if we got like 28 or something and 22 for the original, we'd want to go back and check our work and see where we made that mistake. Okay, so these ones are really cool, I think, because you can make sure that you get it right on the quiz and exam, right? All right, very cool. So now you go ahead and try this one. And I think this is the last one for today already. Okay, so go ahead and do all 3 parts. So start with the simplify, and then plug in 4 for the original, and then plug in 4 for your result and see if they are the same. Okay, so go ahead and try that. Come back when you're ready. All right, so I'm going to take my 4, distribute it to the x. Take my 4, Distribute to the 2, so I have 4x plus 8. I'm going to slip in that 1 just in case if you like it. A negative 1 times x is a negative x or negative 1x. And a negative 1 times a negative 3 is a positive 3. Now we can combine like terms. So I look for all my x's. I see a 4x minus a 1x for a 3x. And for my constant terms, I have a 8 and a positive 3 for a positive 11. So my result ended up being 3x plus 11. Now I'm going to plug in 4 for the original and 4 for my result. And hopefully they are the same. So my original was 4 times the quantity x plus 2. So I'm going to put 4 plus 2. Minus the quantity x minus 3. So I'm going to put minus a 4 minus 3. I'm going to use order of operations to simplify. So I'm going to do what's in the parentheses first. So I have a 4 times 6 minus 4 minus 3 is just 1. 4 times 6 is 24 minus 1. I get 23. If I plug in 4 for my result, I have 3 times 4 plus 11. 3 times 4 is 12 plus 11 equals 23. And they match, so we did it correct. All right, you did an awesome job today. I hope the rest of your day is awesome.